Guys, welcome back. It is your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and I know this is not what you were expecting, but unfortunately that other rulebook that I am reading is quite massive, quite in-depth, and it will take me a little bit longer to get that one to the table, but it is coming, I promise, guys. But this game actually showed up very recently to my table, and I wanted to show it to you guys. So this game is kind of a cross between Tainted Grail and Seventh Continent, would be a good way to put it. This is actually, if I can get the box in here, Destinies, and I am not going to try to pronounce those names. Sorry, guys, it's Michael and Philip with very complex last names, and it is published by Lucky Dog Games. And sorry if you guys do hear the occasional notification because there's an app with this, so my phone is going to have to be on while we're doing this, but we'll show you guys that here in just a sec. And the really awesome part is this game is not expensive. Miniature Market had it for $35. Unfortunately, they are sold out currently, but you might still be able to find copies around. Definitely check it out if you are interested. But this is, like I said, just a kind of storytelling, RPG-esque, reveal the area as you go. Not a whole lot of replayability because it does kind of stay static, but there is an expansion coming out for it, so I will give it credit for that. And hopefully, since it is app-based, they will have more scenarios able for you to download, maybe something with a randomizer, kind of like Descent 2nd Edition had with their app at one point. Now, the components of this game are just freaking amazing, especially for the cost of this game. I've got the box sitting here. Whole buttload of miniatures come with it. Now, the miniatures are very tiny, but they're kind of cute. Look at this with this little guardian fella right here. That's the people. So your little player characters, and some of these are actually markers for events or NPCs or things like that, will be like that. I'm kind of curious who the hell this guy is, because this is this big. That's your guy. Then this guy is huge. There's some werewolves and some rats and some other stuff in here as well. But a whole little bucket of miniatures that you can paint up. I'm probably not going to, just because these are tiny. But the rest of the components are nice as well, which we will show you guys. Here you see the cards. These are what they call tiles, but they're really kind of card thick. They're just thicker than a card. All right, so they can technically be called a tile, but I would prefer that over the cardboard ones, like the token size, because you get a whole stack of these. There's something like almost 70 of these, and that gives you a whole lot more to choose from. If they had done it as thick as they had with their tokens, you probably would have only been able to have 10 or 20. So I much prefer to have thinner ones just to give me those extra options. So let's pan over here and show you guys this. We're going to start up our scenario and show you guys a little bit of how the game plays, but just to show you the rest of the components, they are quite nice. These player boards are nice and thick and engraved, embossed, deepened, whatever the word is, in a way that you can tuck the tokens actually in. I always love it when they do that. Spot for your player card, spot to keep your dice and your tokens, and then your 3 different abilities, which are going to be your intelligence, your dexterity, and your strength. And then these are your skill levels at those. And strangely enough, this is one where actually the lower the number is, the better. But you guys will see that here in a little bit. It comes with 2 different types of dice. You will always have your 2 just regular dice in your game, but these are not normal D6s. They do not go up to 6. I think there's a couple of 1s, a 2, a couple of 3s, and a 4 on these dice. And these, the exertion dice, I think is what they call them, are a special type as well. They have a 1, a 2, a couple of 2s, I think a couple of 3s on there. Is there a 4 on this? I don't think there's a 4. What would be a 4 is actually that symbol, which is a guaranteed success. So that's actually a good thing to have. When you start up, you start with 1 token, your 2 main dice, like I said, that you'll always have, and then one of these gets added in at the beginning of each one of your turns. So when we start our turn, we're going to get one of those. But look how thick that coin token is. These tokens are extremely thick and nice quality for a game of this cost. I really gotta say, I am impressed with that. And then we have cute little wooden markers for our player boards here. Also, there is a huge deck of item cards that you see have QR codes on them, and they are numbered, right, front and back. Make sure you keep these item cards as well as the location cards in order in between games, because it makes it much easier to find them. You're not going to be drawing items in this game. It'll tell you whether or not you have a certain item. Like my huntsman here starts with a bow and arrow, which is very nice to have. And then you also have your player card, and there's a bunch of these. Unfortunately, with our first scenario, we only get to choose between 3 different characters: the noble, the witchman, the witch, and the huntsman. I decided to go with the huntsman, and they have special little destinies, which is where the name of the game comes from. We'll touch on that here in just a second. And just so you guys can understand the concept before we get started, because we're going to play through a little bit of this so you guys can see how it's played, is when you're rolling dice, right? That's your mechanism to complete any test in this game. And you'll be tested whether or not you're trying to convince someone of something or attacking an enemy or making something. All of it revolves around your tests, okay? That's where the dice come in. And what you're going to do is you're going to roll at least your 2 dice, maybe more if you have access to them, or any items that give you special bonuses. And let's say we rolled a 3 and a 2, and we were making a intelligence test. You're going to get, and look at it, we've got a 5 here. We go up to 5 and we see we have 1 number. Anything equal to and under counts as a success. So if instead, let's say we had rolled a bunch of our numbers here and we got an 8 total, and we were making a dexterity test, an 8 would give us 2 successes because we have 2 markers that are equal to or under 8, right? So that's exactly how easy it is to make a test in this game. The purple dice have the ability to have guaranteed successes, and then you add up the rest of your numbers. If they're equal to or under whatever the skill markers are, boom, you got successes. And then you just input it in the app, how many successes you got for your test, and it tells you what happens afterwards. Just like many other story games have with, whatever the case may be on the attack or the test that you're making. Obviously, it's going to be harder to make in a success at a 12 because you got to roll a bunch of dice and get high numbers, but you could get up to 4 successes if you've got items or extra dice that allow you to do that. All right, so let's pan back over and we will move our stuff around as need be to have it in camera for our game. But to show you, here is our app, all right? So this is what you're going to see when you start up. The Sea of Sand expansion has not released yet, but is going to be coming out here soon. So we can't click on that, but we'll click on Destinies, and it gives us a choice of scenarios to play through. Now, the rest of these are a connected campaign to play through. The first one is a standalone. We're going to use that as our example for the game. It'll tell you what's going on in the dead of winter. A monster preys on the town. Among whispers of curses and dark magic, there are few who will not cower and hide, but go into the night to face the beast. What fate awaits them? And that's what you're going to find out. Hit play, and it will pop up. Now, I had played this previously. We're not going to resume that. We're going to start a new one. Now, you have normal game, which 2 to 3 players, Challenger solo, Explorer solo, or Bound by Fate, which is 2 by 2. So there's multiple different ways you can play this. It is kind of a competitive cooperative game. So if you play it normal with 2 or 3 players, you're each trying to complete your destiny before the other. You're trying to win that way, but you're not necessarily working against each other. I do like that they have the option to play solo. That really, I think, brings the game to the next level. If they didn't have that, I don't think the game would be quite as successful as it is. Challenger is one where the basic gist of it is it's easier to lose. There's time limits, there's harder challenges. harder test in the course of the game. We'll do an Explorer one just to show you guys how it's going to work. So we click Explorer. This tells us the story, and you can hear the sound. I'm trying not to have too much of a glare.
It was a dark night in the dead of winter, when the terrible howl resounded for the first time. No strangers to wolves, the men quickly assembled a hunting party. The few who returned, bloodied and terrified, spoke of a monster, a werewolf, hungry for human flesh. The townsfolk turned to the mayor, once a famed warrior, but they found his house dark and abandoned. Did he abandon his kin to the mercy of the monster, or had some other darker fate befallen him? As the beast prowled the woods, many wondered, what does it want? Where did it come from? And most of all, how to put an end to this nightmare. But there were a few who knew their fates were, for various reasons, tied to the monster. And so, the threads of destiny became interwoven for the first time.
Alright, so that's the story. And of course, my little gyro tripod did its bullcrap thing. Give me a second, I'll fix that. Alright, but once we have this, you've listened to the story, we'll hit OK. This is the part where I told you pick between your characters. For some reason, this first one only goes as the choice of noble, witch, huntsman. Go with huntsman, hit OK. And this is the easy part. It tells you what your mini is, the standard setup. So we're going to take one coin, exhaust all of your purple dice, but then on your first turn, you're going to get one of those back. Character bonus, we do get the bow, which I've already grabbed out. And it lists down here what your skills are. So that's where I got all the little notches, the little wooden tokens that I put onto the board. Bam. Easy peasy, nice and easy. I like that. So once you set all of that up, make sure every piece is still in the right place. Yes, it is. We're still good. All right, we will hit OK, and we start our game. Did every player take starting items and their skills? Yes, because it's just Gimpy. Saved automatically, so you can load, as you guys saw, you can pause a game effectively and keep going later. Hit OK, and it tells you how to lay it out. First card, it's going to be laid face up. Bam. And then it tells us a point of interest. All right, so our point of interest this time is a miniature, and other times it will be these little tokens here that you'll place onto the cards. So I've already grabbed out our little monk here. He's at the church. Beacon of hope. You place, and that little symbol means point of interest, which again, this time happens to be a mini. Hit OK, and it tells us all the cards that go around. Number 23 already got laid out. That's part of town, the smith and the inn. This is where Stone Circle stands. Nice. And this is the woods. And up here is the meadow. A wolf howls somewhere in the meadow. Now, before we get started, we do have our destinies. Purple destiny and light destiny. Basically, the darker one or the lighter version. You will scan these QR codes with this app at times because some people will reference your destiny. The competitive part about this game is you don't read out your destiny to the other players. Now, of course, when you're playing solo, it's not going to matter. But if you are playing with other people, you will not reveal what your goals are. You can work towards one or both, but you can only generally complete one of your destinies. For us, our little backstory is we serve our mistress well, and we have done so since long before she married the cruel man. When she decided to get rid of him, you gladly assisted, but the curse meant to turn him into a wolf succeeded only partially. Now in his half-bestial form, he surely comes for revenge. You must finish what she started before his nature is discovered. So effectively, he's a werewolf. That's what we're trying to stop. We can either finish the spell, find and bring 2 ritual items to the crossroads, or we can kill the monster, find and bring 2 silver items to the blacksmith so he can make you a weapon to kill the werewolf. Well, we already know there's a blacksmith over here, so I have to search somewhere over here and find myself some silver items to go after this. Again, sorry if you guys hear my phone notification. I've got it on for the video. When you are ready, go to the dark woods in the south to fulfill your destiny. So we know this is the woods. So I guess this is where the bad guy's going to be. So probably be best to start our search over in this direction. So like I said, that's our destiny. We'll flip this back over and scan it occasionally, but we are ready to go. We hit OK. Day 1. It's just this easy. Refresh and effort die. Boom. Take one of these little dice, put it in our trade. We're going to get one of those at the start of each day. And now we just decide what we want to do. We can move, then interact. And you will have start of the day, then move, then interact with items. Start of the day can be things like refreshing stuff, gaining your dice, whatever. Occasionally things might pop up that will happen periodically. It's just part of the game. Basically, you're going to either move and then you choose to interact. I'm going to choose not to move starting out. I'm going to go towards the church, and talk to our little priest down here and see what he's got to say. All we have to do is, by the way, we can just scroll to spread the map around. I think we can zoom in and out. Yep. So I want to go to the church and see what's going on. Visit the church. So that's going to be our interaction. We'll go yes. And then it pops up with our list of things that we can do. All right. Basically, the priest is there, and then we have these options. If it doesn't show one of those blue, green, or red symbols, then it doesn't take a test to do that. Asking the priest about our destiny, you see it shows that QR code symbol. That means we're going to scan our card on one of the two sides, whether it's the dark side or the light side that we want to do. Now, I can pray. I can steal money from the offering box. I can ask what troubles him, or I can ask the priest about my destiny. Well, let's start with praying. That's pretty easy. Your convictions and your conscience are clear. The prayer fills you with a new determination. Refresh all of your effort dice. Boom. So I get my other two. I get to add them in. Perfect. That makes it to where it's a whole lot easier for me to complete some of these. But you see, praying is no longer an option. Steal money from the offering box. I didn't do this in my previous game. I'm not going to do it now. I'm not going to steal from the damn offering box from a church. Just not going to happen. I'm not that kind of person. Let's not worry about asking what troubles him. Let's hurry along and do our destiny. So when we do that, you see it pops up a little skinny thing here. We're going to take our card, and when that's in the right place, we tap it. The Abbey used to hold many treasures, but now it lies in ruins. Maybe something remains. So we have to find the Abbey, and that is about finding silver. All right, so we want to find silver items to take and build some weapon. We know the blacksmith is here. We've got an idea the wolf might be here. So I think we'll travel this way on our next turn. So right now, there's nothing else I can do. I've already interacted. I'm not going to waste time asking what troubles him. Stealing money from the offering box, like I said, not going to do it. So we'll just end our turn. Boom. End turn. Yes. Day 2, refresh and effort die. Now, I already have 3 effort dice in here. That's the most you can have, so I don't have to worry about it. We'll continue on. So this time, we're going to start with a movement. So we'll click here, explore tile 11. Yes. It'll show us to flip. We will flip it, and we'll move our character over. The wind sings through the ancient stones, chilling you to the bone. Okay, good stuff. And now we have to grab card number 10. This is why I say keep all those tiles in the correct order so you can just grab them up. So we'll place this card right there. And you see how it's all starting to line up too. I love that. That's what it reminds me of Tainted Grail, of Seventh Continent. But I think this is like a lighter version of those two games put together. Because Seventh Continent played very differently. It was mainly a deck of cards in your hand as far as test, and you basically just tried to explore the cards and see what you could find. With Tainted Grail, there was a lot more you had to keep track of as far as the items and your health and attacking enemies and all that. This is kind of like the easy version of those two put together. All right, so the ruins of the old Abbey lie in this direction. Well, bam, we know the Abbey has silver items. That's what we need to do. Perfect. Few venture this far into the woods, and fewer still with the beast around. We're going to place tile 04 below it. All right, so we placed 04, and I went ahead and moved this back just a little bit, just to give myself just a little more space. Now, normally when you move, you could move up to 2 tiles away, but if you are moving into an unexplored tile, you do have to stop. So obviously, since this was unexplored, I have to stop. Now we will continue on. We place that. And we have an item of interest. A place of old worship now rarely visited. The standing stones. So we'll place a marker there. Just like that. Boom. We're marking it out, and we're mainly just fleshing out what our app tells us to do. I love app games. I know not most people, but some people don't like app games. I do. I think they're great. It just depends on your personal preferences. Next, bam. All right, so we've moved. We've completed our move. We did our start of turn. We did our move. Now we got our interaction. Obviously, our only interaction is going to be with this area here. So when we click on this, visit the standing stones, yes. And we can do up to 3 different tests. Ancient symbols carved into the stones are faded, but they are still power here. The townsfolk fear and avoid this place. Meditate in the circle, pray to the old gods, or search the circle. So 2 of those are intelligence tests, and 1 is a dexterity test. So looking at my player board, you can see I'm a little better at dexterity than I am at intelligence. These upper level skills, I'm probably not going to be reaching just yet. But the lower level ones, 5 and 7, 4 and 7, and 5 and 7 on strength. So kind of average across the board, but just a little bit better at dexterity. Now, if I am in a dexterity test, all right, so that's what this shows here. In a dexterity test, also use all of your strength, but I have to discard this to do it. I don't really want to discard this. I think I might need this for the monster. So I'm probably just going to do my dexterity test to start off with. So what we will do is I will roll. I get 2 guaranteed. And what I'm choosing to do is the dexterity portion. I want to search the circle, maybe find a silver item. I've got up to 3 dice, 3 of these that I can use. I'm going to keep a hold of 1. That way I can get 1 back on my next turn, have up to a couple of ready to use. That way I've got 4 dice like this ready to go. So let's place this here, and we'll click on search the circle, and it'll tell us what to do. Search the circle. Now what this is telling us is how many dexterity successes did we get. So let's roll. Come on, give me a good number. I need big, happy numbers. Or guaranteed successes. Oh, that was bad. 3 1s and a 3. So that got me a 6. I only got 1 success. If one of these damn dice had been higher, I would have gotten 2 successes. But unfortunately, I only got a single. Now, I could use my bow, technically, to get a second success. But again, we're not going to do that. So I just pop it up to 1, and I confirm. 1, is that correct? Yes, unfortunately it is. All right, there are human tracks here, unusual for this place, but you can't discern anything from them. Someone was here recently. What for? Lose 1. Okay, well that is bad. I lose 1 dexterity, all right, and I gain 1 experience. So here I get to show you how experience works in a couple of different directions. All right, so looking at my player board here, when it's telling me to lose 1, it's telling me that I have to move one of these to the right, and 2 of them cannot occupy the same spot. So unfortunately, I would move one of these just to not worry about it because they're so far out. But that means I have to move one of these. So I will move this one over. But I did gain an experience. And what you can use experience points for is you can discard an experience point to move 1 token 2 times. So I can move this one that's on 5 now down to 3. Or you can move 2 tokens over 1. And I think that's what I'm going to do. I think Dexterity is going to be my better bet. So I'm going to go ahead and discard this experience point and pop that down and pop that down to make Dexterity decent again. Had I had another success, I bet I would not have lost that little bit of Dexterity. So unfortunately, that sucks. It's not the end of the world, though. The experience point did make it to where I could bump up Dexterity. And again, sorry about my tripod. It messes up sometimes. So like I said, these 2 big ones will go back in every single turn. Every single test, they always go back in. Bam. But I did use these, which means they're done. Nothing else I can do with those. But we're good. I'm relatively happy with what we have discovered thus far. So we'll leave that there. And we will finish out with this. Bam. Now, I can choose to do something else, but I'm afraid to at this point. I think I'm going to skip any of these because I'm not that good at intelligence test. Meditate, praying. We can come back and do them later if I want to, but I don't know. Let's just end our turn for now. End turn? Yes. So I get to start of turn. Only thing I got to worry about, bring another die back. So I've got 2 of those effort dice. And we are here. Couple areas left I could potentially explore over there. But the Abbey's up here. And I know the Abbey is good to go. All right, so drawn by rumors of the monster, the bishop himself arrives in town. He takes up residence in the church and said that he offers a reward to anyone who slays the wolves, threatening the faithful. He believes them to be in league with the beast. The priest was seen traveling east towards the crossroads, burdened by some troubling dilemma. So even more is going on. But now we've got the bishop of the church. Replace him as indicated. So let's grab the bishop. So we've got our little bishop token, little miniature. Yeah. We'll replace him. Hit OK. And it did not show me where the priest went. It just said that he's traveling east. Let's see if it shows him anywhere. Probably because I have not revealed that area, so I will set this miniature off to the side. But the bishop is there, so you guys see how this story evolves as we go along. So let's do one more round here, show you guys a little more of how it plays. I'm going to move north into that abbey, see if I might be able to find a silver item that could potentially get me the weapon that I want. So I'm going to click here, explore 10. Yes, it will tell us to flip it. Just like that. Bam. And Abbey stood here once. Nothing but wind-blasted ruins remain. Hit OK. And it tells us to place a token on the ruined Abbey. And the ruins, ominous as they might look, radiate calm. Good stuff. Time has not been kind to the mausoleum. There's another place we can check right there. And our miniature is now moved to this location. So I have to choose what I want to interact with. Well, I know I want to interact with the Abbey, so let's go ahead and do that. Visit the ruined Abbey. Yes. I know what I want to do is searching the ruin. So it says not much is left of the Abbey. Just a crumbling ruin lost on a snowy hill. By some miracle, some cracked stained glass and a remaining window is partially preserved. The rare winter sun gives life to vibrant colors, masterfully crafted. It must have been magnificent in the Abbey's glory days. Perfect. All right. So I can look at the stained glass, which is no, or I can search the ruin. I will be searching the ruin because I want items. I have to go for my successes again. Thankfully, this is a dexterity test. I'm using all my available dice because my available dice let me down something fierce. And if need be, I will discard the bow because I really need this to be a successful mission. But increasing my dexterity in the previous turn with that experience point, 4 and 6, and sorry for my Facebook notification, will hopefully help me out. So as long as these 4 dice equal over 6, I will get 2 successes, which should be all I need for this early level quest. All right, come on. Big money. An 8. Good grief. Both of these effort dice. I think the only thing effort dice have given me so far is like 1s. No, the previous one was a 3. So a couple of 3s, couple of 1s. All right, good stuff. Got me an 8, but that is 2 successes. And it actually would have been 2 successes whether it was on any of my skills. Intelligence, dexterity, or strength. That would have been 2 successes, right? You see, for dexterity, I need a 6 or under for 2 successes. For intelligence and strength, I need a 7 or under. And to get 3, I need an 11 or under on all of them. And dexterity and strength have the potential to have 4 successes if I roll up to a 12. So take a real good roll on one of those. Let's add in our... Now, the thing is, I could use this bow to guarantee, right? And a dexterity test, also use all your strength. So I could discard this and add 2 more successes to it. Don't think we're going to worry about that. I shouldn't need it, but let's see what happens. Confirm, is 2 correct? Yes. Can it be the tabernacle is left intact? It seems unlocked, but the ages of disuse have jammed the hinges shut. Refresh 1 of your die. Okay. Well, open the tabernacle. And unfortunately, that is a strength test. And it's an interesting looking strength test because it has the scan icon as well. Well, we've got to try to open it. All right, click on it. Click on it. All right. I could pry it open if I had the right item. I would have to scan something, see? I do not have an item I can pry it open with, so I am going to have to try to pull it hard, which means I'm going to do my test. Thankfully, I got a effort dice again, so let's roll again and see what happens. Come on, big money. Big money. Big money. Ooh, 7, which will get me 2 successes. Perfect. I'll take that. All right. Is 2 correct? Yes. You pull with all your strength and it finally relents. Yes! There's a chalice inside, its surface shining as only silver can. How long has it been here? Forgotten by all. Take the chalice. Okay, unfortunately, I cannot take the chalice but leave an offering because I don't have 2 gold. I've only got 1. So I will just have to take the chalice. You take the silver chalice, who'd find a better use for it than you, and yet you feel uneasy. Maybe the chalice is long since forgotten, but your conscience still gnaws at you. It says to exhaust 1 of my effort dice, but thankfully I'm already out of effort dice, so I don't have to worry about it. And that is number 33. So let's grab item number 33. Ooh, this item is excellent. It gives us an always ability. In every intelligence test, you may set 1 of your rolled effort dice to any face. You could guarantee success with that anytime because you could always put it there. Or if it's more beneficial, you could set it to a 3 to get you a higher number. So that is an excellent ability to have. Unfortunately, effort dice aren't involved in every test. You really see, though, how those things come in handy. And getting only 1 per turn, you have to really think carefully on which one you're going to use. I was lucky with the prayers that gave me the extra effort dice to start with, which kind of gave me a little bit of a boost. So we'll add this, but this is silver. This is 1 of our silver items that we need to potentially destroy that werewolf. All right, so the Abbey is finished. I don't have any stuff, and I don't want to risk having something bad happen to me by looking at the stained glass, because with only 2 dice, I have to roll at least a 1 and a 4 or a 2 and a 3 just to get a single success off of these 2 dice, which is not the easiest because there is, like I said, only 1 2. There's 2. Is it 2 2s or 1 2? There's 2 1s, 2 3s, a 4, and a 2. Yeah. So most likely to end up with a 3 or a 1. But if it's a 3 and a 1, it only gets me a 4, which isn't even a single success. So I think it will hold off on intelligence or strength tests for as long as I can. But that puts us to where we're at. So we could end our turn at this point. But like I said, it saves our game, which is so nice. So after we end this turn, boom, we're into the next turn and we can just keep hooking and jabbing, or we can pack it up and pull it back out to finish it off later. Obviously, you have to have your device with you. That is one of the drawbacks with it. You can't just leave your device in the box and pull the game back out. But most people do tend to have like their phone with them, or whatever the case may be. So it shouldn't be too hard if it's an app-based game. I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here because we are getting a little bit long in the tooth. If you guys do want to see me play out a little bit more of this game, by all means, put your comments down below and let me know. If there are enough people who are interested, I'll pull it back out and play through some more of the scenario, let you guys see a little bit more of how it plays. But honestly, I gotta say, I think this one is a definite keeper for me. It was like a surprise hit, especially at its price point. For something like Seventh Continent, it was more expensive when it first came out. I think you can get it for anywhere around $60, $70 now. Tainted Grail is a fair bit more expensive than that. But this is one of those games in those genres, right? But it's streamlined, right? It plays well. You've got your 2 main dice. You're making tests, whatever the test may be. And it's all based on your choices. The only drawback to this game, and I can tell you this for a fact because I played through some, not all, some of the scenario, is this all plays the same each game. That's the big drawback to this game. But at its price point, I mean, I got it for $35. You can't really beat that for the amount of hours that you're going to get out of it. I mean, for the amount of fun that it provides, there's 5 in the box and an expansion coming out. I think the expansion is going to be about $20. Even if it only has 3 or 4, I'm hoping around 5 scenarios in it. That easily is going to cover the cost because there's no telling how far I am. I haven't even completed this scenario yet. Like I said, I only played through a portion of it just to make sure I had my feet underneath me before I was playing the game on camera. But it's not hard, and it gives you a good amount of gameplay for you to go through. And honestly, for a game that's not designed for solitaire play, it plays very well solitaire. I'm having a really good time with it. And if you want a more in-depth, challenging experience, there is Challenger mode, which is this, but there's time limits. There's things that will force your hand, right? This, you're kind of just exploring, exactly as the name implies, that you're just kind of going along for the story. Now, your actions are going to change what happens. You can still fail whatever it is. You see, I didn't do a good job searching the stones, but you're not going to miss out on anything per se. In challenging mode, you can run out of time, or something could be happening over here that you completely miss, whatever the case may be in the scenario. So in that one, you're going to have to push a little bit harder. If you want that challenging experience, it is there for you. If you want a relaxed game that tells you a story as you kind of make your choices, right? As you're going along and seeing if you made the right choice to push your luck a little bit more, see if you can win it with just your 2 dice, whatever choice you're making, you've got that experience. If you want something you can play with a family that tells a story, but you're still kind of competing with each other, you've got that. The game really does offer a fair amount. It's even competitive. And my biggest thing is the quality of the components for the price point of the game. The components are great. The only thing that I think people would knock on is the thickness of the tiles. The tiles do not do this. All right? Tiles do not bend this easy. These are effectively cards. They're called tiles in the game, but they're cards. They are thicker than these cards, but barely thicker than these cards. Game's still a blast though, right? I think it's a fun thing to sit there in the afternoon if you got a rainy day, you just want to play through a story at your table with your family, by yourself, whatever you want, and you don't want to spend a fortune for it. Yeah, Destinies is right up the alley. I would recommend getting it from Miniature Market, but they're sold out. Check your local game store, see if they can order it for you. Check around to some of the other online sites, Cool Stuff Inc., Nerd can never remember the name of it. Nerd Inc. I think there's a Nerd one that does it. Zatu maybe. One begins with a Z. If I order it online, it's from Miniature Market. If I get it in person from a game store, it's my local game store, Games Armory. Gotta love them. Gotta pitch out for them. Good people. So yeah, this game isn't for everyone. I'll let you know. It isn't for everyone. If you don't like apps, give it a pass. If you don't like games that are all about rolling dice and doing your little tests and stuff like that, if you've played Seventh Continent and didn't really get into it, or you played Tainted Grail and you didn't really get into it, give this one a pass. If you've liked either one of those, this one's probably really up your alley. All right, but that's going to be it for this one. Like I said, if you enjoyed it, if you want to see some more of it, by all means, I'll leave this game on pause. If there's enough people who are showing interest, crack the cards back out and we'll play through a little more of the scenario, see if maybe we can track ourselves down a werewolf. And if I don't hear anything, I'm probably going to end up doing that anyway. It just depends on whether or not I'll be in front of the camera or not. All right, you guys take care. I'll see you in the next one.